Hey everybody, so we're looking at Hyperdocs this week, right? So we're going to start building our first lesson for our students. Now, your top of your lesson can be anything really that you want it to be. There's no rhyme or reason, but every week you're going to see that I give you a new technology item to kind of add in. And the purpose of that is to kind of, one, keep you on your toes, and two, make sure that we hit like a whole gamut of different things. We don't want it to be just a very plain and simple kind of run of the mill thing. So in this week, you have to build your lesson one lesson plan. All right. In 102, you worked on your lesson plan, outline, you saw what was all needed. This is going to be the procedure for your lesson plan for week one, and it's called a hyperdoc. And the reason it's a hyperdoc is because we're going to hit hyperlinks all throughout all of this document, and it's going to give our students the ability to kind of jump around and really do a lot of exploring and figuring out on their own. The reason that I really like this one, and this template comes from a website that you'll see. But the reason I really like Hyperdocs is because it kind of takes the teacher out. All right, you can make videos just like I'm doing for you guys to teach and talk to them, but instead of you being up in front of the class going over everything, it really gives you the ability to kind of step back and watch and see what they do with the information. So I'm going to go step by step on what each one item is, and then we'll see where it kind of fits into everything, all right, and what it's going to look like. So the first part is the engage part, right? Now, if you remember in English classes, they always told you like you had to have a hook, right? Something to kind of grab onto them, right? And that's what this is. You want to engage them. Now, when you look at your lesson plan, you're like, well, that's what my do now is. No, remember, a do now is either to review something that you've already done, is to give them a hint of what's to come. Maybe, ask a question about what you're going to be doing as a do now, but it is not the engagement factor. So if you look, it says to engage students at the beginning of a lesson, insert a video, image, quote, or another inspirational hook in this box, right? That's not a do now. We're just trying to grab a hold. So let's just say I was going to I'll do the Constitution. I'll use the Constitution as my lesson plan as we go, right? So if I was going to do the engage or the do now for the Constitution, I might put in there like, what does the Constitution do? And that's my do now. And it gets them thinking, like, what does it do? What's the purpose of it? What's going on, right? So to engage them, I might put a short video, 2 to 3 minutes, about the overall concept of the Constitution, how the Constitution affects their everyday life. And that's going to make them think a little bit, right? Especially I have high school students. So what if I put a video about like how the First Amendment influences their every day? And that's going to get them thinking. That's going to get them engaged. It's not my do now. My do now was kind of a review or just a thought-provoking question to get them focused. But my engagement is, how does this happen to your every day? And now I'm going to get them, so what are we talking about here? I'm gauging them, right? So then I'm going to get them to explore. Curate a collection of resources, articles, videos, infographics, texts, videos that you make for students to explore the topic, right? And you're going to say, all right, listen, guys, we're going to talk about the First Amendment of the Constitution. Maybe give them a copy of the Constitution, a video on the Constitution, some court cases about the freedom of speech and the First Amendment, that kind of stuff, right? And get them to kind of start looking at what is this thing called the Constitution, the First Amendment. Now explain. Use this section of the Hyperdoc to explain the lesson objective through direct instruction using your favorite web tool, or gather students together to teach the content. So now as a teacher, right, again, I can use a video, and my lights are motion detected, so I'm sorry that they went off. But so again, I could use a video, right? I might even stop my class and have them come together and talk. But since we're all online, we're going to do something like this, right? It could be some way to get them to see what's going on. And I'll give you some good ones that you might want to use this week. Now I said that. Now my mind went blank, right? I'll come back to it because it's a video on it. It's really good. But you could give them a video to go over. You could talk to them just like we're doing here. You might give them some good written directions on what's going on, right? You need to explain the content that you want them to really hit on, right? So we've engaged them. We said, hey, how does the First Amendment affect you? Then we said, all right, now let me give you all of these resources. I want you guys to start looking at all this stuff. Now you're going to bring them together and you're going to say, hey, here's what I got going on, right? So for this week, we have not gone over how to video ourselves yet. So I would even be okay this week if you use like a Google Slides to do your explanation and the kids had to kind of read through, right? But think of this as like your, for lack of a better word, your lecture portion of this class, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to go through and you want to teach your content. Now apply. Create an assignment for students to apply what they learned by using web tools to create, collaborate, and connect beyond the classroom, right? So a great one, and I use this every year for like the First Amendment, I give them scenarios about First Amendment situations, and they have to use the First Amendment as Supreme Court cases and try and figure out what would have happened in that scenario, right? I'm applying it. They're not just studying it, but now they're using real world ideas on it, right? So let's just go with a little kid thing, right? Let's say you're talking about grammar. Well, maybe then you say, okay, I'm gonna do it at engage, right? I'm gonna get them into it. I'm gonna talk about like the grammar situation. I'm gonna have them explore some different like grammar symbols. Then I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna explain. Okay, guys, we're working on like periods and capitalization, right? Then I'm going to apply it. Well, I'm going to give them sentences and I'm going to say, okay, what words in here need to be capitalized and where does the period go? All right, you want them to apply it. You want them to use it in real world context. The share situation. Now students are going to share. How are they sharing their work? What are they doing to share their work? Right? Are you going to have them link their work there? Where would you have them send it to? How are they going to share? Are they going to talk to each other? I think it's called think, pair, share, right? A lot of little guys do that, right? A lot of little kids, they think, pair, share, right? They get together and they talk about it. That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. Have them discuss what they came up with, and then as a group, come back and kind of bring it all together so that there's some review of what happens. Then finally, you get into that reflect area, right? Include an opportunity for face-to-face or digital reflection. You as a teacher need to kind of run that. You need to reflect with the students. Hey, what did you get for this answer? Let's reflect on why you got that. Let's talk about that. The one thing that, especially right now with the internet, with the internet situation that we have, there's a lot of talking that I have to do, right? I got to pull it out of people because they don't want to talk on the internet. It's weird. It's an odd thing. So you really got to start pulling it out of people. All right. Think about little kids. Well, I guess my 6-year-old is in that she will unmute herself and tell everybody what she's thinking, right? So little kids might be a little bit better, but high school kids, they hide, they don't want to talk. So you really got to reflect. You got to make sure you do that part of it because listen, everything else is great, but if they don't reflect on the understanding, they're not really understanding. And then finally, add links to more activities and online resources. Guess what? You're going to have kids that are faster and slower. Right? No one works at the same pace. No one. It doesn't matter who they are. I have twin nephews. They don't work at the same pace, right? So make sure you have something that, hey, if Lisa is done before everybody else, what else can she do? How can she extend her learning process? How can she move forward, right? If Joey he's having a really tough time, he's not getting it. Well, listen, Joey, like we went through this lesson, you have a problem. How can we extend? How can we give you some extra practice? So that's an important part of this. So within this document, and if you look on the webpage, there's more examples. I have a website that you could check out. There's more examples, but I want you to use this one for this week, right? And I want to see you build this lesson, right? I want to see your engaging item. I want to see what articles and videos and things you're sending them to look at. I want to see how you explain it. Are you creating a video? Are you creating a PowerPoint or slideshow? I want you to do the explaining. Next, I want you to apply it, right? Make sure they have some kind of practice apply, right? What are they going to do to apply it? The scenarios I give my students, man, sometimes we spend an entire period, 45 minutes on 2 scenarios. I want to get through like 8. It takes 2 because we argue it out, we debate, and we focus, right? That's awesome. That's learning, right? That's what we're looking for. Share. How are they going to share it with their friends? Are they going to think, pair, share? All right. Or are they going to make a flip grid? All right. What are they going to do to share that? All right. And then if you need to, make the flip grid. Do what you need to do. Reflect. How are they going to reflect? And how are they going to extend? So almost every one of these should have some kind of link, and that's why it's called a hyperdoc, right? We're sending them places, we're doing things. So almost all of them should have some kind of link to something, right? Someplace, somewhere, somehow, right? It could be a link to a video, it could be a link to articles, infographics, right? It could be a link to what they're applying. It could be a link to your presentation, right? And don't be afraid, like for the explain part, if you have a presentation, don't just put presentation and link it. talk about what it is, because imagine this is good. Your students are getting this, right? Your students are going to get this. And if it just says presentation, they're going to be like, well, that's dumb. What does that mean? All right. Explain it to them, talk to them, right? This week is a little bit more work than the other weeks because this is your first real lesson plan. Now imagine, right? You're going to make this and you're like, dude, I got to make a lot here. I teach 6 periods a day. I make 6 of these for every day, right? 6 of something like this for every day. You guys have a week to make 1. So I expect some perfection out of this. I expect some time and thought and energy. I want it to be good, right? I want your apply to apply. I want you to really go at it. And I want you to really make the things that your students are going to see. When you're done, right, making this, I want to be able to send it to one of my other teachers and be like, teach off of this. And I want them to be able to just go, right? I'm not going to, I promise. But that's how much I want, because again, it's 1. You're doing 1 lesson. Again, I do 30 a week. You have 1 week to do 1. So there should be plenty of time. So really take some effort, right? Make the things that you want them to do. I can't stress that enough, right? Whatever the engaging thing is, make sure it's there. Wherever you're exploring, make sure you have links to the articles and videos and infographics and text excerpts and all that stuff. Make sure I want to be able to see them and explain it. Guys, here's what I want you to do in this part. I want you to go look out and find these things, right? And the explain, I want you to really do some of this, right? So that's what a hyperdoc is. Now, again, if you look at my website, I have links to the creator. I guess they're the creators of Hyperdoc. I don't really know, but they have all sorts of stuff to look at. If you pull one, I'll find it. All right, make your own. Don't cheat, because there are a lot of examples, and I think it's cool. I want you to go look at examples. I want you to see what they have, but at the same time, this is the one I want you to use, and I want you to build your own. All right, when you get to be teachers, yes, you're going to pull examples, you're going to do that, but be creative and think through your process. All right. If you have questions, again, let me know. But this is for 103, right? But this is the procedure part for your 102 lesson plan. All right, so they go together. You should be hyperlinking this into your lesson plan, and I'll talk about that in lesson plans as well. All right, cool. Enjoy your day, and I will see you guys. Most of you on Thursday. You've been showing up, and I love it. I'll see you later.